Since we're fishing for big ones down here, I'm actually using a 1/0 Gamakatsu Brennaler Neko hook. And then you're gonna need some kind of O-ring. It's just a, standard rubber O-ring. And then I got, this is the 7-inch cut-tail worm by Yamamoto, just using a green pumpkin. And so, there's a lot of fancy Neko, or wacky rigging tools to get your O-ring on there. But if you just have a standard old pair of pliers, instead of buying one of those, all you got to do is put your O-ring on there, open up your pliers, and voila, you got your O-ring on your Senko or whatever bait that you want to get it on. This little tungsten weight, this is a 3/32 ounce tungsten weight. And what I like about this one, it has really, really deep barbs on it. So if it doesn't have that, it will have a tendency just to fall out when fish shake. So, just put that in the head there. Push it all the way down. Go from the back to the front like that. And that's your standard Neko setup there. Oh, I think I got one. Oh, yeah, I got one. We just got that school fired up. I just caught one re-rigged, cast back out there. Bait just went to the bottom and I just barely moved in, I already got one. I mean, that's just what the Neko rig just excels at. After you figure out the right cast and you get those fish fired up, you give them the old Neko rig, and then, I mean, it really just excels in that kind of situation. Pop that out. Nice fat one. I mean, look how fat those fish are. See, we still got a worm, weight, everything. It was funny, in I think 2003 or 4, I was at Lake Shasta, and a guy named Iz Bird, actually, I think he won a boat at Bassmaster Invitational, and he was throwing what we now know as the Neko rig, and then it just started catching on. I really started using it mid-2000s, 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7. It was a tool in my bag, drop shot, Neko rig. And what was funny is that everybody was doing it out west, and it really hadn't caught on back east, on our tournament circuit. And, I think it was 2013 or 14, I had a really, really good Bass Fest, the Bassmaster Elite Series tournament on Kentucky Lake, and I caught a lot of the fish on Neko rig, fishing offshore ledges. And I could pull up on spots where guys were fishing right next to me, and I'd get like 10-to-1 bites. But again, knowing that cast, it's not really a bait where you can cover a ton of water. I mean, you can, but you want to kind of know where those fish are positioned and make that cast, and you can really excel and kind of make people look silly, just because those fish, they can't hardly resist it. Oh, see, I just got a bite. See, that fish knocked slacking. I mean, I just let it sit down. But yeah, you can either pump it up just like you would a Texas rig worm. I like to drag it a lot, kind of almost like a, a loose line shake, so that it actually gives the worm some action. But sometimes you just gotta, like these fish right here, they don't seem to like a lot of shaking on it. They just want it kind of pulled up and pop back on the bottom, and just a nice steady drag. But sometimes they want like a real heavy, shaking action that gives that bait some action. Just a little guy, but oh man, they're still fun to catch. And what's cool is, I mean, you can put pretty much any size worm you want on this rig. I'm using a big giant cut-tail worm right now. You could use a 4-inch worm, you can use a 6-inch worm, you could use a 10-inch worm. So just kind of whatever size the fish are biting. The original Neko rig over here just really excelled with just a standard 5-inch Senko. The one that ever, kind of made the Senko famous. And if I was gonna begin Neko rigging, that'd probably be my go-to bait, is just a standard 5-inch Senko, which most people already have in their tackle box. And, get you some O-rings and some nail weights. You can use a real light nail weight in it and fish it right on the bank or on docks, things like that. And I've caught them all the way out to 60 feet using a little bit heavier nail weight. And it's really, it's very similar to the drop shot. It's, you know, cast it out there, you can just drag it along. You know, if you're even a novice fisherman, you can catch them on this rig. You don't have to be a professional to be able to really dominate this rig. You just kind of drag it along, just keep that bottom contact, be good for kids. But you know, the only thing is you want to make sure there's not a ton of brush and stuff down there. Even with a little wire weed guard like I'm throwing right now, it can get hung up just because it's exposed hook. But if you're fishing rock and structure around docks, things like that, this rig, it just catches fish. And I mean, who doesn't like to catch fish? Here he comes, he's coming up. Oh, there we go. There he is. Come here, buddy. Come here. See Uncle Bradders. Neko rig, cuttail worm. Whammo! You can use your drop shot rod, you know, in a little bit more open water. If you're not catching a bunch of giant ones. This is the rod that I use for like my shaky head or heavier Neko rigging like we're doing here at Lake Bacharach. This is a 7-1 medium heavy, but I want something still with a tip on it so I can shake that and not move the bait too much. You know, I like a braid to a, you know, some kind of fluorocarbon leader, you know, 8 to 10 pound test fluorocarbon leader. Here right now I'm using my 7-1 medium heavy spinning rod with a 3000 Certate. This is new Daiwa Certate. This reel is unbelievable. But you know, I mean, the biggest thing is having a spinning reel that has a really good drag. So when you do get, you know, one of these big fish on, wherever you're at, you know, the biggest thing in a spinning reel, what you're buying is the drag system. And the smoother the drag,